Today for 1.5b, we're going to go over an example that you may encounter, but let's say we had 4x cubed plus 15x squared minus 15x minus 44. Let's first list all the possible real zeros of f. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with my 44. That's what I'm gonna. So 44 here. I know right away I can have plus or minus 44, right? Plus, minus 44. Factors of 44 are 4 and 11. And 1, always 1. So plus or minus 11, plus or minus 4, and plus or minus 1. Oh, also what? 2 times 22 makes 44, so plus or minus 2, and plus or minus 22. So now I'm going to take into consideration anything factors of 4, right? So factors of 44 divided by 4. So 44 divided by 4 is 11. We already have that covered. Let's see here. But 44, let's say, divided by other factors of 44, right? 22 is a factor of 44. So 22 can also be divided by 4. 22 divided by 4 reduces to 11 halves. So we can have a plus or minus 11 halves. Let's think of other factors. We can have just a plain 11, right? So we can have 11 divided by all the factors of 4, which are 4, 2, and 1. Well, if it is divided by 4, then we have 11 fourths. So let's do this. Plus or minus 11 fourths. We already got 11 halves, and we already got a plain 11. Other factors of 44 that we can divide. 44 also has 4, right? So we could do a 4 divided by 4, which is 1. We already have that. 4 divided by 2, which is 2. Already have that. 4 divided by 1, which is 4. We already have those. Another factor of 44 that we can consider, 1, right? Because 1 is a factor of 44. So we can do all that plus or minus 1 divided by 4, plus or minus 1 divided by 2. 1 divided by 1 is just 1. And I think that is all. Trying to think of all the factors of 44 and that could be divided by all the possible factors of 4. So these are all of our possible real numbers. So now, when it gets to the point where they're like, hey, pick a graph, don't try to draw the graph itself. Just put it in a graphing calculator, graph the graph, pick the right answer. But let's go to the end part of determining all the real numbers, all the real zeros of 44. So when we do that, let's graph that. Okay, we're going to put our graph into our graphing calculator. Here we have our graphing calculator. So if I put in 4x cubed plus 15x squared. Oops, no. Just delete that. Plus 15x squared minus 15x minus 44. I'm going to put it into my graph. Doesn't bit well, but that's okay. It works just fine. All I have to do is stretch out my graph here, and I'm going to try to find a y-intercept that is a 0, that is a nice number. This is not a nice number. Try another one. Yeah, go down, maybe here. This is not a nice number. What about this last one? Gives me -4, so I can find right away -4 is a 0. From there, since I have my 0 of -4, I am just going to put that into my synthetic division. Here we have -4, and our coefficients are 4, 15, -15, -44. Let's do the steps. 4, -16, -1, 4, here, -11, 44. This gives me the 0, which we expected anyways. So now we can use this next part, which is basically 4x squared minus x minus 11. This does not factor well, or I don't know if it factor well. I can think about to try to factor it. 2 factors of 4 and 11 and make 1. Not really. So, and if I'm really uncertain about this, I'm going to use my end game of all factoring of quadratics, the quadratic formula. Remember our -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a, something that we should always have deep and dear to our heart. So here we'll go. So we have 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 minus 4ac, so 4 times 4 times -11 over 2a, so 8. Okay, so let me multiply through. 4 times 4 times 11, that is 176. So this is 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 plus 176 over 8. So this is 1 plus or minus the square root of 177 over 8. So these are our other 2 factors, and you would put it in like this: 1 plus the square root of 177 over 8, and 1 minus the square root of 177 over 8. So this is how you would find the zeros. We would get synthetic division once you graph it, right, and you find the easy zeros. Well, then you synthetic divide those out to get the quadratic, and then from there you will use the quadratic formula and solve from there.